Hi, this is Jonathan Mark. I'm with Flyby News. This program is a little hodgepodge of different things we've covered from other films like Beyond Moss Brook, No Fracking Way. You'll see images of that. Tukola, which is a sacred rock on the land that I share with this world. And why Flyby News could continue for 20 years. Without nature, we'd be lost. There's a lot of intensity in knowing truth and researching truth. But truth prevails, and to convince myself to be objective in researching elements that was witnessing around me since taking on the military-industrial complex in 1997 with the launching of the Cassini space probe that did 2 flybys around Venus and then came back for an Earth flyby carrying all this plutonium on board, which was extremely dangerous. Their excuse was that they wanted to explore the origins of how we came here. So they wanted to go to Saturn, and that was too far away for just solar, for the weight that they were carrying. So they put 72.3 pounds of highly radioactive plutonium, which contained 3 radioisotope thermal generators. So they used decaying plutonium to generate about 740 watts, about 7 light bulbs, the conventional light bulbs. And for that, they did a flyby of Earth, traveling around 10 miles per second, aiming just enough to grab the gravity but stay out of the atmosphere. Unfortunately, there was no inadvertent re-entry into our atmosphere. But from that, from exposing that high-risk mission, Flyby News learned about the plans for dominating the world by putting weapons in space. So it wasn't just to expose a high-risk civilian space program. It was to expose a civilian space program taken over by the military that had plans. They posted in the 1990s their plans for Vision 2020, a document that claims that they're going to use nuclear weapons in space to control Earth's interests for the U.S. and their allies to dominate the world. But they needed a new Pearl Harbor. Motivate people to get behind their plans. And so when the election of 2000 came along and we were trying to stop weapons from space, we were noticing the Supreme Court ruling to choose George Bush Jr. as president, even though the votes weren't fully counted. And now we found out that Florida, Gore had the majority of votes. But there's a lot of kinky stuff going on, and Gore backed down like a spineless person that didn't care too much to confront this coup d'etat. Just like Johnson never confronted the coup d'etat in 1963 and then went along with the plans for expanding the Vietnam War rather than ending it and ending the military-industrial complex in the direction it was headed. Recently, Flyby News has discovered a new information called the Skorzeny Papers. This was recently published, received by auction by a Nazi military intelligence person that joined the U.S. side against Russia right after World War II, and it's called Operation Paperclip. And this operation allowed the recruiting of these Nazis for intelligence and for military purposes. And it really corrupted our government, because here we were creating another war, another situation where the capitalists behind war were making a lot of money from an arms race. And they felt very secure having all these weapons around them. So their security has created the insecurity for our world, and actually for them too. And this is what has motivated Flyby News over this time, and why we publish news and why we continue to publish it. This coming year, 2019, is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo lunar missions. And if you research that enough, and if you can handle going beyond your cognitive dissonance and telling yourself what is, and then research it with an open mind, you'll find that that was a psychological operation by the military. It gained a lot of pride and prestige, but here we are near 50 years later, and it hasn't been reproduced. And in 1998, when they tried to see how high they can go in space with the space shuttle, with astronauts on board, they only reached 350 miles from the Earth before the astronaut was experiencing high levels of radiation bombarding inside his head. He had the suits on, he had the deflector gear on like they had in Apollo. 350 miles, it wasn't even halfway close to where the radiation shield that protects Earth's atmosphere gets thick. That goes from 1,000 miles at least to 25,000 miles in a very intense way. So here they were less than halfway there, and they were forced down. CNN reported it as killer electrons, and they were surprised because of the Apollo lunar missions. And that's where we're confronting. So you have to check out Massimo Mizuko film called American Moon. I interviewed Massimo this year in 2018, and his film will be available online, but now it's available at Amazon, and for Europe it's from Massimo Mizuko's website. All those details are at flybynews.com. So where did this come from? I mean, what motivated me to research all these dark sides of our civilization? It's basically because I've been living in it for all my life. When I was born in 1951, and I grew up with the duck and cover kids in elementary school hiding under our desks, preparing for a nuclear war. And it was traumatic, and our families were dysfunctional to many degrees. It was after World War II. There was a lot of elements of TV, especially. I remember the first color television set. TV was always in my life. Cartoons. In fact, I was resentful of the Kennedy assassination because all those morning TV shows on Saturday morning were replaced with very depressing funeral services. And yet, it lasted for 4 days, and as I started learning, because I believed everything the TV told me when I was young, I started questioning, is the TV being manipulated by someone? and then I found out that yes, it is. And so a lot of people are brainwashed, but they don't realize it. They have a lot of pride. I found like my own introspection that I have a lot of anxieties that I wasn't recognizing, and I found my ego would kind of hide from those anxieties, and I was defensive or too sure of myself for a young person. But it was a way of finding out eventually that everything was going to fall apart, relationships, communities, friends, and yet something remains, and that has to do with love and nature and truth. And so you find out who your friends really are after you go through these periods of self-examination. You can apologize or forgive yourself all you want, but it doesn't mean that other people are going to forgive you. But there's a role, there's a reason for everything we experience. So Flyby News covers a health blog, and I encourage everyone to check us out, because the health blog and the poetry, Life Rhythms poetry blog, have a balance for the other news that you might be seeing there, with the coup d'etat in 1963, with September 11th, 2001 events, and other events that shows us that our civilization is crumbling. Many are feeling the decline of human civilization. We have become divided into two camps, neither one dealing with our collective reality. Yet all is unfolding into chaos and violence, initiated from the top down. We feel small, insignificant, and make believe or thrust ourselves into distraction or entertainment, while coming to a place questioning perhaps, why are we here? Will new paragraphs help resolve any issue traumatized by confusion? where theories are rampant and facts barely looked at? Truth is scary for those who want to make believe and maintain their worldview. What is. It's tough to swallow as one research events like JFK, 9/11, weapons in space. Deceptions become visible without even looking for them. While the end of life is certain, accelerating toward the premature extinction of more than just our species goes without integrity. Have we gone that far berserk? It seems intolerable to me to enable a few bad apples to turn truth into political maneuvering, where one side denies creating lies, and the other is a master of them. It would have been helpful if President Trump in 2017 released the government research files funded by the taxpayer on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. People will often either make excuses for him or just do not care. Trump's rhetoric of all sorts of fake news is real, but the cover-up of the events of September 11, 2001 continue, as well as the JFK U.S. intel military coup d'etat, and the manned moon landing hoax over 50 years of falsehoods. It's easier to manipulate people by ridicule and distraction than to admit and learn from mistakes. What is true is that we could not accomplish those missions today, and positively no way with 1960s technologies. One smartphone has more computer power than on Apollo. Cognitive dissonance, denial, and avoiding truth has become a way of life. Reality has taken a back seat. Yet not knowing what may come about leaves open all sorts of possibilities, and uniting with truth, knowing there is truth, brings us closer to the beings we are and will be. There is so much more that unites than divides us. Learning from our mistakes, we may find a way to unite, to confront fear, and face a reality that will help liberate us in the end. There's still a chance for human integrity. As an Indian child, I wept and cried to feel the hatred, the reason my father died. I dried my tears as I grew older, and with my bow became bolder. To protect my mother of this world and of nature, as buffaloes were slaughtered and the Indian hungered. The fish gave us some strength to survive, yet we knew we had to do more to remain alive. As we struggled, the white men kept coming, building towns and railroads with sticks that kept exploding, chasing us to grounds that were barren. Our most sacred land by strangers were taken. Some of the younger, angered by those maneuvers, no longer respected the way of the peace elder, became warriors. They hid and ambushed, and the numbers of my people grew small. My family became mourners. It was then I heard a call. I went to my place beside a flowing brook. Here it was peaceful, and as I sat, the water spoke. Young brave, warrior of the wind, let go and carry the message within. There was no need to fear at this place, but as I opened my heart, I felt it shake. I leaned towards the water but did not fall. I flew through the woods to the source of the call. Here I saw buffalo and the warriors of old. They sat in a council of peace, and here I was told, young brave, young warrior, the fighting is not free, but you must complete the lessons that will let you see. I came back to the brook and felt good, but was confused as to what I should do. I smelled fire and heard thunder from guns. I ran back to my four-legged, back to my home. My mother lay there with a young one in the ashes of ruin, my tears bitterly dried by my heat of my village burning. All friends, women, children lay in darkness. My confusion and not knowing became like a sickness. Nothing could I see but anger and scalping. I rode my pony, feverishly attacking. With others I yelped, burned and killed, until peace was lost. I could not return to that place over that hill. But late one night, before sleep, a spirit said, "Look above, way above your head." And like at the stream, I listened and went within. I felt what it was like to go with the wind. Yet sleep overcame my spirit. In the morning, I didn't remember. I hopped on sacred fire and rode as a warrior, charging in a cloud of dust. It was then my throat struck by a bullet. Breathing became difficult. I fell and rolled, still not breathing, looked up. Hooves ran wild. But way above my head, I saw clouds opening instead. I rose to the land of buffalo and friend, and knew why we all had to ascend. The land we left needs to serve another, though the whites hardly respect the earth mother. They'll cut the trees, drain the soil, and sicken the water. Their destructive forces will come like a wind of fire. Yet though a cleansing will come to purify all the spreading diseases, and nature will replenish the earth with changes. For peace will come to all kinds of tribes, and for those with the strength to remain alive, without tears of rage nor loss of dignity, but for those that have or will see Earth and her children living in complete harmony. Earth and her children living in harmony.
There was a knock one morning, a man was standing at my door. He said, "Hello, I'm from Halliburton, have you heard of us before? We'd like to lease your backyard to drill for natural gas. It's called hydraulic fracturing, and it is the very pass for a clean energy future above the Marcellus stone. Plus we'll give you lots of money and a new mobile phone. I said, you are a corporate crook. I don't believe the things you tell, and you can drive right off my property and then go straight to hell. No fracking way. No fracking way. I don't trust corporate salesmen, whatever they may say. No fracking way. No fracking way. No fracking way. My neighbor was out of work and things were looking grim, so when the fracking guy came knocking, he had better luck with him. The company said, don't worry, everything will just be fine, so just sign your name right here, sir, on this dotted line. Pretty soon the water was tasting pretty dire. One day I lit a match and the water caught on fire. I thought about a lawsuit, then stumbled upon the fact that fracking is exempted from the Clean Water Act. No fracking way. No fracking way. Is this how democracy works here in the USA? No fracking way. No fracking way. No fracking way. As if the situation weren't sufficiently unattractive, we tested the water and found it was radioactive. Now my property is worthless and there's a tumor in my brain. Half of my neighbors are sick, the rest are just in pain. Maybe I should take the money, move off to live somewhere, but all the places I look at, they're fracking there. Our choices now are simple: lose that which we hold dear, or communicate the message in a way that's unstoppably clear. No fracking way. No fracking way. Tell these frackers to frack off, both tomorrow and today. No fracking way. No fracking way. No fracking way. No fracking way. No fracking way.
Passion comes from life, with winds both gentle and strong, and trees leafy and bare, with wild creatures old and young, and joy and sorrow's tears. Nature's bounty is passion's fruit, nourishing both earth and humans, continuing life's existence with the force of two who come in passion to feel oneness and join with compassion on this sacred land. A lot of these poems were written and published in 1980. Here's another one called Within a Sunset, written on Mount Crag in Northfield. O great spirit gently breathing within me, the sunset horizon of western sky touch my mind. I feel its flow and see an indescribable picture. The most I can show the poetry of my nature, yet not less than or greater than the above, but a force one with the horizon of love. O great spirit, force through all nature, maker of our universe, I am. Sunrises take us by surprise, yet never delay its coming, its churning, its yearning to mix life with color and turn on the crystal ball of earth. And if there was a morning star, and I found a path to a mountain reservoir, and viewed the past and moments of today, I must say I've found a way, chosen because I choose to do what I came here for, realizing I have seen it all before. The deja vu from a morning star, reawakening love to a planet which has strayed much too far. Death. The unknown journey tells us of lives past, what's behind the sky and how long we can last. Blight and perish, then return creation to your chore, never ending, though it appears dim sometimes because the tunnel winds. But beyond the next bend, the illumined mind might find a permeating ray. O divine mystery, naked before my thoughts. Such grandeur and majesty. Am I truly worthy? Embracing life, colors blend, harmony filters through. I am what I am. The only death that came to be was to that of mystery, as life has a way of renewing and cleansing, and with the element of growth, the spirit will always be unending. Beginning in around March or April 2019, Flyby News plans to host events, monthly events, up to July 20th, 2019, regarding what's up with the moon trips. We'll be showing films and offering discussions to examine why we haven't gone in all this time. And we'll probably have people defending that idea, and then we'll have people saying, well, you know, there's other evidence that shows that we still can't get to the moon with human life and protect the astronauts and get in return. The technology just isn't there. Massimo Mazzucco's film, American Moon, is available, and I hope you watch the interview that I had with him. If you go to flybynews.com, you'll see the upper paragraph that explains where we came from, and under that, some very important programs, especially with Bart Jordan and his evidence of technologically advanced ancient civilizations giving us a message on Mars that's been covered up since the Mars Viking mission in 1976 that was warning us about breaking the covenant. Yes, that old biblical story of Garden of Eden might have been on Mars, when they used to have an atmosphere and lakes and rivers and streams. And there's a site there called the Cydonia region. The ancients called it Signature Site 10, as a way of communicating back to Earth into their future. There's a face, there's a 5-sided pyramid, there are 3 walls measured to the inch with the sea mile, land mile, and birth mile. And the ancient Greeks recorded this in the original language, and many other languages followed that shared this information. So we're going to be doing a program with Bart Jordan soon on Teotihuacan regarding the site in Mexico that was hosted by the Mayans, but according to Bart Jordan, the constructors of that site was Basques. And this is pre-Ice Age times, or long ago, where there was still a passing down, a unity within the world of what was way long ago and what we need to learn as we evolve. If we don't end war and put away the nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction, our planet will have no hope to survive with humans on board and many other species. But if we do learn this lesson, if we do listen, and there's been updates by UFOs shutting off nuke missile sites, and if you go to Flyby News under Critical News and Events, you'll see an article called UFO and Nukes, and that will take you to a hearing in Washington, D.C. with military people sharing their experiences when UFOs were hovering outside their missile bunkers and shutting off their nukes. And that's very hopeful. And these testimonies come with a good heart, and they examine maybe why the government is holding back from this information, but they're coming forth with it because they see a positive element with this communication. And this is connected with the past and our present. And if we have a future, we're going to be opening to our reality that needs to redirect our efforts towards sustainable, preserving life and nature, and converting the military-industrial complex into a more human civilization that do not separate one another from race, nationalism, or religion, but see that we're all complementary and we're much more alike than we are different. Thanks for listening to this program. Hope you have a good day, And remember, flybynews.com for life survival in the 21st century. And we can use all the support we can get, so please join us. Thank you, and have a good day.